Hey everybody, Jeff Munn, Creating Extraordinary Futures, and I just got back from 4 days with an event that involved two of my coaches in Santa Monica. It was John Patrick Morgan's event, Creating Love and Power, and Rich Litvin, who was one of my first coaches, was also involved. And I am just sitting in the greatness that I felt was a possibility that came out of that event. And I had this moment that I want to share. I had the opportunity to go to dinner with Rich and JP and to get coached by them. And it, got in the car and the coaching started immediately, and it went on for over 4 hours. So imagine over 4 hours of fairly intense coaching, alternating between me and one other participant. But through that, I just saw all these possibilities, all these ways that I had been holding myself back, that I hadn't been owning for myself. I saw this capacity, this power that I didn't see as available to me, at least not to the same degree that I had seen before. And it was amazing. And I came out of the evening with so much energy, and I couldn't sleep that night, and I was journaling, and I woke up in the morning and I was feeling amazing, even though I didn't get much sleep. And then it all came crashing down. And this fear came in of who are you to do that? And how do you think that's possible? And there was this fear to even open my mouth to talk about what I had experienced. And I kept thinking about, where does that come from? And I'd seen this cycle in my life, and I was actually talking about it with a good friend and mentor who I just got off the phone with. And he said, yeah, I do that too. This cycle of you see this possibility and you get excited and then you get afraid. And that thought of putting it out into the world, declaring it to the world, for me, it's hey, I built this amazing coaching practice and I help people change, and I charge really high fees. And I have been doing this work for 30 years, so I'm perfectly qualified to do this. So why is it that I freeze up? Why is it that I have this fear when I do it? And there's something that's called the upper limit problem. It's something that I'm aware that Gay Hendricks, in his book from a few years back called The Big Leap, he's the one who coined the phrase, so far as I know. But it's this idea that we were born and raised to be comfortable in a certain container with a certain level of success, with a certain level of achievement, standing out in a certain way, but staying small and staying safe in some other ways. And we have these stories that we've believed that have limited us. And every time we crash through those apparent stories, it all comes crashing down to no, oh no, you don't. And I've been asking myself why, and I don't know that why is actually a relevant question. I think for me, there's a distinction here, because I think the way that I have thought in the past is that unlimited potential is story, fairy tale made up. And the limitations, the body constrictions, the fear, the tightness in my belly, the tightness in my throat whenever I try to speak it into the world, that's what's real. And I started playing with the notion that, well, maybe that's the part that's made up. And the more that I think about that, the more that I've come to the conclusion that it's true. Not that those things aren't going to come up again, but I don't feel like there are things that I necessarily have to power my way through or affirm my way over. I just have to notice I'm doing it. It's oh yeah, I'm believing this story again from my childhood, that I'm greedy to want more, that I'm selfish to want more, that it's dangerous to be my full, unlimited self in the world. And these are things that I've talked to a lot of people and a lot of people feel and are, I don't blame my parents for putting these stories in me. They certainly had them. And you go back to when we were on the plains and being hunted by animals, I mean, our genes are full of the ancestors who were successfully able to get to the point of reproduction because they avoided danger, and they avoided danger by staying small and staying safe. So it's natural that we would feel these things, but we can see what it is. We can see it for what it is, and we can ask ourselves, is that really true? And a lot of times it's not. So I would invite you in your life, whenever you get those feelings of, if you want to call them grandiosity, or if you want to say that it's just this idea that I can do something way beyond what I've ever considered in the past, that might be the thing that is actually true. That might be the thing that is actually true, not the stories that you've believed about staying small and staying safe and not fully living and not fully going after your dream. Take care, and I'll see you next week.